Life in Layouts, and today I'm going to be using this beautiful sketch created by Heather Little for the Memory Lane scrapbook page on her Facebook page. So I'm using these photos from when I took my nephew to, both my nephews to Animal Kingdom, and I'm using the Simple Stories line, Say Cheese. I have all three sets. I've said before, I'm a Disney pass holder, so I go to Disney a lot. So I have pretty much everything that is included in all three of the Say Cheese lines. So what I did to create this layout into a 2-page sketch was I created the base, and I started out by thinking that I was going to create them together like that, but I didn't like the way that looked. So what I decided to do was I'm looking for a piece for the banner, and I end up using this piece here with all the words on it that I just passed, this one here. So I'm going to cut the strips, I think, into 2.5 inches. And then I'm going to put the fishtail on the far left and the far right side so that it looks like one big banner across the page. So I start to cut it here and then realize that because there's words, I can't do that. I have to do it on the other side if I don't want my words upside down. So then my layout base is starting to take shape. And so I'm going to cut these photos up. And all of these photos are from the Memory Maker photos. So like the PhotoPass, what are they called? The Disney PhotoPass photographers are the ones that took all of these photos. So you can see that they've added those magic shots. Like they added Timon and Pumbaa in one of them, and they added Tinkerbell in another one. So I love the fact that's one of the things that I love about being a pass holder is having those photos. So what I did was I inked all my edges, and I even inked the black with white polka dot paper, so that some of the dots are now yellow and some of them are white. And I really like the way that turned out. So because using that word paper, I feel like it's really busy. So I'm going to back all of my photos with a thin black mat. So the left side of the page follows the sketch almost exactly. And then the right side of the page, I only had 2 photos, a 4x6 and a 3x4. So I end up adding a journaling card, a 3x4 card, and as my third photo. And I end up using that yellow one that says "So Much Fun." But I'm going to audition quite a few of them. So then I'm going to start to glue everything down. And what I did was I used my T-square ruler to line up exactly where I wanted that piece to be so that it was in the middle of the paper. And I did that for both edges, or both sides of the layout. And so I wanted to tell you guys a story about this day. We took the boys. My nephew was down. I have one nephew that lives in Illinois with his dad and stepmom, and another one that lives here locally. And so the oldest one was down visiting for the summer. And this was the first time that they had ever gone to Disney World with just me. Usually it's either my mom or we have some friends that go with us. And so I feel like I have a help in the parks. So it was just me and the boys. So on the way there, we had a conversation about them being good and listening to me and lots of people being there. And we didn't want them to run off. And, just everything that you would say to young children when you're going to a big amusement park. And I told them that if they were really good and they listened all day, that at the end of the day, they could get a stuffed animal. Those stuffed animals are like $25 a piece. So it was worth every penny because they were total angels all day long. I mean, they listened to me, I think, better than they have ever listened to me before. We had just such a great time. And about 6 o'clock, we got there like early in the morning, like 10 or so in the morning. So about 6 o'clock, I asked them if they were ready to go. And They said, yeah, they wanted to get their stuffed animal and asked if they were good. So we went up to the front of the park. They both picked out their stuffed animals. And as we were walking to the gate, they both were like, oh, we're not ready to go. So they lasted until almost midnight, because this was during the summer, so they have longer hours. And still they were troopers, had no problems with them, on their best behavior. It was a great day with them. So from about 6:00 p.m. until almost midnight, they carried those stuffed animals around. So I told them that if we stayed, I'm not holding those stuffed animals or carrying them, because that was supposed to be part of their, as we were walking out the park. And they named them, and they were so excited. They wanted to show all the animals what it was like to be at the Animal Kingdom. And so when we went on the safari ride, they were showing, Malachi got a rhino, so he was showing all the other rhinos, the real rhinos, his stuffed animal rhino. So it was a great adventure that I had with them that day. So that's what actually ended up my title being, is My Crew, because I love spending time with these boys. So I'm going to take the sketch off here for a few minutes, because I'm trying to embellish the page, and I wanted you guys to be able to see the upper right hand corner under the embellishments. So those balloons with the clouds, I auditioned those in like 4 or 5 different places. I love the way that they looked, but it just didn't work. So I ended up taking the balloons off and adding this little cluster up there at the top. I added Tim Holtz tiny attacher, added some staples to it to give it some dimension. I love that little viewfinder in between the photos. I thought it was it added a really good touch. So I'm going to bring the balloons and the clouds back, try to audition them over there. I really tried to make it work, and it did not work. But those balloons are so cute with the yellow and the blue and then the red and white polka dot. And then that cloud has like faux stitching on it. So off they go again. So I ended up with this bingo card that says happiness, and then a wood veneer that says dream, and a wood veneer camera, and then this little triangle or arrow, and so I'm going to put those there. So what I'm showing you now is these paper clips. I can never make these paper clips look good on my photos or on my layouts, so I end up just taking it off and using it as more of an enamel dot. And then I do the same thing with this brad. So I have a brad, and I actually tried to take off the enamel piece, but it wasn't working. So I just snipped it with my Bind It All metal clips. So I have 2 of those in like that blue color and then the red color. And then all I do is put some fun foam inside where the brad would be, and so that it sticks to the page well. So those are my clusters there. I have the one that's with the dream cluster, and then I have the other cluster on the far left hand side, and then I have just that single viewfinder right there in the center. So I want to tell you a little bit about the sketch over at Memory Lane Facebook page. I think it's Memory Lane Store, and I'll link it all in the below. On their Facebook page, last weekend during Mother's Day weekend, they had 3 challenges that they posted, and one of them was to use this sketch created by Heather Little, which is also Heather's Crafty Life. And then there were 2 other challenges as well. I think one was to use older photos with newer collections. So like using photos from when you were a child, or back in the 80s or the 70s, but using collections from today, brand new collections. And then the other one was to not use any cardstock, to just use pattern paper. So and then the challenge to use the sketch. So they have 3 challenges. They have some great prizes. The sketch prize, I think, is a $20 gift certificate. And the other 2 challenges are, I think, a $10 $10 gift certificate to the store. So go check it out. Go check out their Facebook page. I'll link that below. And then I'll also try to link directly to the challenges so that you guys can look at those if you want. And I think you have until next week, or maybe even the end of the month. I'll post that below too, to complete the challenges to be entered into their prize. So I just used fireworks spray to add my splatters all around, and then I journaled about my little boys, my nephews, and added a date with my date roller stamp. And I think that's it for this layout. I have some close-up, the full page layout, and then some close-ups for you guys. If you like this video, if you'll give me a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button to see all 2-page layouts. That's all I do on my channel, and most of them are sketch inspired. And I hope you guys have a scrappy day. Thanks for watching.